because now here's something else is on there.
I don't see the share screen thing.
Wait.
Ooh.
Okay, today is Wednesday. Look, August, July. July. Look, it's just in July and August. I'm ready for the summer, everybody. That's what it is. Today is January the 11th, Wednesday, and we are continuing our lesson in what happened to my
Of course,
my share
share
screen?
screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that. Oh, there it is. How come that went away? Yes, that was weird. Okay, so we are continuing in our lesson on, here we go. We're continuing on our lesson in A Course in Miracles. We're still in chapter 2, the separation and the atonement, but we are on, excuse me, we are on section 6, fear and conflict, and we are on paragraph 4. And one of the things that we decided that we would do this year is just to familiarize ourselves with the manual for teachers. Like last year, we familiarized ourselves with the workbook for students. We didn't do a deep dive into the workbook for students. And we really won't be doing a deep dive into the manual for teachers, but we please ask that if you're interested, just, take some time, look into each of those books, get more into, get more use out of your Course in Miracles and learn how that can help you apply all of the things in your life that, so that we can live without fear and conflict. Okay, Harriet, would you, I'm the one that normally starts with the prayer, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and begin in prayer. And I would just like to begin with us knowing that we are the Christ. Each and every human being is the Christ. Whether we think this person is holy or whether we think this person is defamed, just know that each and every one of us is the Christ, the most wonderful person that you know and the most hideous person that you know. We are filled with the Christ. And each of us, as we begin to use this experience to learn how to love each other as the Christ, let's begin and let's allow ourselves this year, 2023, to be our most perfect God self, which is our Christ self. So let's love one another as if we are the same being, as if we are one, and as if we are one whole. I can't say that my right hand is more experienced than my left hand. I can't say that my feet are more equipped than my head, but I can say that each and every part of my body allows me to be the best that I am. So let's allow each and every individual that we see, think of, communicate about or to, let's always uplift that person. Let's always bring that person love and joy, light and fellowship. And with that we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
Okay, Harriet, would you like to get us started? And
I
I got
can.
a few more other things to do, and then I'll turn my camera on in a few minutes.
Okay. Sounds good. As Penelope said, we're in chapter 2, the separation and the atonement, section 6, fear and conflict. And we're starting today in paragraph 4. The correction of fear is your responsibility. When you ask for release from fear, you are implying that it is not. You should ask instead for help in the conditions that have brought the fear about. These conditions always entail a willingness to be separate. At that level, you can help it. You are much too tolerant of mind wandering and are passively condoning your mind's miscreations. The particular result does not matter, but the fundamental error does. The correction is always the same. Before you choose to do anything, ask me if your choice is in accord with mine. If you are sure that it is, there will be no fear.
Well, that's beautiful.
The correction of fear is your responsibility. And when I see that, the first thing that I think about is the little book that brought me to A Course in Miracles. Love is letting go of fear. And when we love unconditionally, then we really have nothing to fear. That's my take on that whole thing. And when we look on anything, when we send it love, that means that we are making that correction, so to speak. And of course, as the sentence says, the correction of fear is your responsibility. So when you look on someone with love, with not judging, then whatever the error was has been corrected.
Yes. Yes. And only I can control my own fear anyway. You know, I really can't control your fear. You know,
Exactly.
I might can ease your fear. I might
Right.
be able to help you overcome your fear, but it's only you know, but I can't make you lose your fear.
Exactly.
You know? So only I'm only responsible for my fear anyway. And I think
Exactly.
that, I think that that is also a way for us to really be able to pay attention to who we are. Because if I'm eliminating or working to eliminate my own fears, and I'm not intentionally bringing fear to my neighbor. Those are the things that are my responsibility,
Mhm.
that I feel, you know, if and I like that it says the correction of fear, because it's nothing that we can you know, banish. Can't really banish fear. You know, you can't beat it
Right.
away. You can't, you know, you really have to correct it. You have to put it in its proper place or proper order. Yeah, that
And
was
that,
it.
huh?
I said that was it for me.
Oh, okay. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it is the responsibility of each one of us to banish whatever that fear is within us. And as you said, the only thing we can do is try and help our sisters and brothers to ease their fears, but we can't banish them.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you
And I like it, well, I've been watching the whole, Harry thing. And I am so
Oh,
impressed.
okay.
I am so impressed with him because that sentence right there is that's what he is doing right now. He's
Mhm.
correcting the fears that have driven
Plagued
his
him.
life, and he
Mhm.
is making it his responsibility not to project any more fear on anyone else out there, but also he is taking accountability for the the concrete patterns that he has created in his own mind,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
I'm really that whole first sentence is something that I have been seeing this whole week, well, really since December when they came out with the documentary. But this, it's this sentence is right in accord and in alignment with, really what's happening in the world. It's amazing.
Really,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
really. And our discussions on this Course in Miracles and all of our other discussions have, in a sense, given me a certain comfort and consolation. Because when I look at what's going on in this nation and in the world, if you let it, it can really raise fear temperature
Mm-hmm.
almost
Mm-hmm.
into
Yeah.
a point of
Frenzy.
inactivity.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, frenzy.
yeah,
I mean, you can just look at how all of the shootings that we keep having, you know.
exactly, exactly,
All of that is based in fear, all of it. Every time.
exactly.
It's all based in fear.
And to think it is, and you know, and to speaking about the shootings, the one thing that has I'm not going to say plagued me, but has concerned me is why a 6-year-old would carry a gun to school, number one. And number two, and usually a kid at that age, if they have something that they know they shouldn't have, they are so willing to show it off to their classmates. Look at what
I
I
really
have.
haven't kept up with the story, but
Mhm.
the last insert that I heard was he had found bullets one day and brought them to his teacher. And he said, the next time I'll bring a gun. So obviously he was showing them to his teacher. Now, maybe he don't know how to, maybe he don't know how to use a gunshot, you know? So
Probably not at 6 years old.
right. But it's my understanding that the weapon was found. He found the weapon and was showing them to the teacher. So I can't say it was intentional. I mean, I mean, we could talk about this, because everybody's what Monday, Sunday night quarterback or Monday,
Monday morning quarterback.
Monday morning quarterback, so
Right.
but when we understand how to correct our fear,
Right. Right.
so that things like, I think that accidents like that won't happen. I think that we will, the only accident that would happen, I can't imagine an accident that would happen when we are so in alignment with all of the divine energies and frequencies that are here in our environment. I can't even imagine, just like it said, it said in Psalms, Jesus wouldn't even be able to dash his foot on a stone. It's impossible when you are
Right.
so aware of your environment. I'm not going to blame the little boy. I'm not going to blame the teacher. Although if he showed her some bullets day one, that should have been a hint to check his book bag every day. Because he said he ain't gonna bring in a gun the next time. So look for one. But anyway, like I'm saying,
And of course, in an elementary school, why would you have metal detectors? I mean, you don't expect that kind of thing.
No, but if a child told you I'm gonna bring a gun tomorrow, you should look to see if he got a gun. If he said he gonna bring one, trust that he know what he's talking about. And that is also a part of our fears, because a lot of times, and especially, and I know, and we can move on from this, in a minute, but especially in today's time where people are so afraid of offending someone else. So here's a little black boy came in with some bullets, and the white lady is afraid that maybe, and I'm not saying that this is actual, but it seemed fearful to me that was not handled right away. That was something that was left for from one day to another day,
Right.
So, but like I said, I really don't know, because I really haven't kept up. So
neither have I. It's just, when I think about it, I might go, look to see what kind of information has been made public.
Right.
But I haven't.
Right.
My concern is for that little boy, really.
All the people involved, really. I mean, all of them, this is
right. Yeah.
This right here is a hard lesson. This is a hard lesson for all of them. All of them are involved in that lesson.
And for all of us, for everybody,
really. Yeah, we're all involved in this lesson. Yeah. And we have to be able to identify fear at its root,
Exactly.
Even our conversation, what are we fearing? Where are, do I have fear in this, and when I think of it, or do I have, like no expression at all, which is, or apathy? Am I apathetic toward it?
Right.
Where am I? Because if once I know who I am, and I am not putting ego or personality, then I know that I'm not putting my fear in there.
Exactly.
And responsibility, the responsibility of that is vast.
That's right. That's exactly right.
What were you about to say?
Okay. No, I was going to, are you ready to go to the next sentence? Okay. When you ask for release from fear, are you implying that it is not?
Read the next sentence to go along with that.
Okay, you should ask instead for help in the conditions that have brought the fear about.
Okay, yeah, okay. So that does help the second sentence make better sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. When you ask for release from fear, you are implying that it is not.
Right. So I'm implying. Right.
You should ask instead for help for the help in the conditions that have brought the fear about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just and that is perfect for the conversation that we were actually just having. Because when we to know that I don't necessarily have to ask for release from this fear, whatever the fear, whatever the fear is, because that's what we were just saying. Where's my fear in this? So I don't have to ask for the release of it, but the help, you should ask instead for helping the conditions that have brought about that have brought the fear about. And there are a lot of conditions, like we were just saying, this is part of the world as we know it now.
Exactly.
There is so much information and so much sensationalism, and so much and the truth is generally buried deep. You don't hear the truth as sensational as you hear the the sensational part.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think a lot of times, personal experiences, past personal experiences, is kind of like assault in that open wound of fear. If you understand what I'm trying to say, or alcohol or whatever that makes an open wound more painful, more intolerable. And if you can just find something to ease whatever that pain, that fear is, then because when we're in pain, we don't really, I know with me, if I'm in pain, I'm more focused on I hurt than I do on what can I do. I'm thinking about what I can do, what can I do to ease this hurt. But at this, but I would say the bulk of my thoughts are get rid of this pain, this fear,
Yeah. And the help for the condition is not as prominent as it is, to get out of the pain right now. So I can see that, like, you would ask for a release from fear first. If you are dreadful, if you are immersed in fear, you're going to ask from the release from the fear before you're going to be asked for the condition that brings the fear in, because I don't even know if you'll be able to see it right away. And I think that that's probably what has happened all along in life, from one generation down to the next generation, is how we have been handling fear and pain and things that make us uncomfortable. We have been asking for the release from that, as opposed from the release from the condition that that brought the fear about.
Exactly. And I just thought about, very often we trying to think how to phrase this, but very often we have fear or a hurt or whatever you want to call it at this point. And if we are more concentrated on getting rid of it instead of going to the Creator, and I think that is the secret. Yeah. Because too often we try to handle or alleviate or do whatever is necessary using our own inner strength and power, instead of going to the Creator and asking him or her for assistance. in alleviating whatever that pain is, because when it's just like when Peter saw Jesus walking on water. And as long as he kept his eye on Jesus, he was able to walk on water. But the minute he took his eyes off of the Creator, the Father, that was when he began to sink. And that's what happens with us.
Yeah.
When we try to do things on our own without the help of our Creator, our higher self, then that's when things kind of go awry. And we
Yeah.
have to keep this in mind. And I know I am guilty of trying to do it on my own.
Yeah. And yeah, and we have to, I think that has to be like a habit.
Mhm.
And I think you do have to understand what it is, because most of our things, even when we are working through spirit, it does look like we're doing it ourselves. Unless,
Right.
I mean, every now and then you walk on the water, right? Every now and then, but most of the time, you're rowing the boat.
Exactly.
And so you don't
and
actively see the miracle.
exactly.
Mhm. So I think that that's one of the reasons that I think that we can get confused. And I
Mhm.
think that it really helps. Just it does have to be a habit. It gotta be something that we have to remind ourselves to do and be, all the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Let's see, number 4, these conditions always entail a willingness to be separate.
Mhm. And what did we just say?
Yeah,
When we become one with the Creator, everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
But what that's saying is these conditions always entail a willingness. And let's look up that word willingness.
Oh, okay.
Okay. My ACIM thing doesn't have a.
Oh,
Okay. The will.
It might be,
I'm looking.
I wonder if you would see
What?
it in the revealing word. I know will is in the revealing word, but I don't know if
Yeah.
willingness is.
Okay. It's not in the revealing word. Let me see, because I have my
Just what does it mean in the dictionary?
well,
Well,
that's what I'm checking out now.
okay, it's a noun, and I don't know where this is. This is just I just Googled it.
Oh, okay.
This comes from the Oxford Languages.
Okay.
Okay, so it is willingness, a noun. The quality or state of being prepared to do something, readiness.
Say that again.
The quality or state of being prepared to do something, readiness.
The condition always entail a willingness to be separate. So now read your definition again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. This is the quality or state, because this is coming in as a noun. The
Oh,
quality,
okay.
the quality or state of being prepared to do something, readiness.
Readiness.
Mhm.
Readiness, ready to be separate. And that's what fear is.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
ready to be separate from everything else because we're afraid of that unity, that oneness that we have with the Creator.
Mhm. Or or it could that could be the bottom fear, but it could be that we are that
Oh, afraid.
we are a part of that whole, and we are we want to remain, we so believe in this personality, the body that we're in. We're so involved in this personality that to think that we are a part of a whole, we kind of seem missing. We don't seem as special. You know what I'm saying? If I'm
Yes,
saying it
yes,
right.
yes.
So as an individual, as in this casing, I know how superior I can be. I mean, even if every single day I enjoy being depressed or angry or sick, that's the thing that gives me definition. If that's the thing if that's the thing that where I feel my most separate, but I feel my most fullest. But in order to give up this idea of the ego, to give up this idea of the thing that I think makes me, to become what, God? Because that in itself sounds what, crazy. When somebody says that, who you think you are, God? Or
I
they
am that I am.
yeah, but we often become afraid to think that that's who we are because it's so big. I think.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to, because my question was why? Because, well, first of all, if we, because of the way that we have been taught through our churches and Sunday schools and other religious venues, to think that is like, I mean, the impression is that we're getting above ourselves.
Right, exactly.
But
Yeah.
when in fact, and I need to start, I keep little note cards, but I don't always write things down because the other day, and it might have been a week or so ago now, but I was reading some passage from the Bible, and it said right there in the Bible that we are,
We're gods. Yeah, that's Psalm
exactly.
82, 86.
I don't
You know?
remember now where I read it, but I know I
That's
read
in
it.
John. That's when Jesus says that in John. That's who we
Exactly.
are. We are God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're not, as long as we do it with humbleness and not with arrogance.
Well, I mean, once we understand,
And
yeah,
you're right.
because I guess, and even that's subjective, because um I'm not gonna say that, when I think of God, Yes, I think of God being humble, but I think of God as being, you know, sublime too. I mean, you know, I am it, you know. Yeah, you
Mhm.
deserve to kneel, and I am so much it. Yeah, you deserve to kneel in front of me. You know, you know, all of that makes sense to me. So
Mhm.
if I'm seeing that that is who God is, that would be a part of who is
I am.
in this also. So I, you know, I
Mhm.
can't be thinking that I can only be humble, you know,
Right.
because
Right.
yeah,
And
you
I
know,
guess maybe
I
the
have to go along with with I guess the flow of things, you
right.
know.
And I think maybe humble was the
No, that was
was
a good
not the,
word. That was a good word. That was a good word.
but because basically what I'm saying is don't do it in such a way that I'm better than you.
But we won't have our personalities when we actually give over to Christ. We will no longer need this personality. This body will actually only be my vehicle. It's
Right.
here to get me from point A to point B so that I can speak to you, so that you can say something to me, so that we can manifest from our words and act on this earth plane as God, so that each and every footstep is nothing but healing to the planet, you know.
Exactly.
But I have to get there first, you know,
Right.
and for me to be able, I have to be, I really have to hold myself accountable so that I can make sure that I'm ready to oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like meld, or you know, combine, or I don't know,
Become atone.
immerse. Yeah, with that, and not be willing to be separate,
Right.
you know, because you know, I do want to I do want to be able to see each condition as it is, and
Mhm.
to be recognized in what it is in that. And this is kind of like what you were saying about the, you know, one point on being humble, and what was the other word you used? Humble, and I don't know what the other
I
word
don't
was.
remember.
Yeah, but whatever it was, you know, you know, when we move in
Was
and
it was
out
it an
of,
was it an opposite word or was it a
yeah, I think it was
word?
an opposite word. Yeah.
Arrogant?
Yeah, okay, we'll use that one because that's a good one. Yeah, I think it was arrogant. Yeah, because when we're moving in and out of time, and
Mhm.
that's something that we're going to be talking about a little bit later on when we get to who the pupil is. When we're moving in and out of time, I should be able to be, to use, not to be, but to use arrogance if the situation calls for it. And I should be able to use humility if the situation calls for it, from one
Mhm.
second to the next. You know, I should be able to, you know, what's the new word now? Fluid. How people are fluid. I should
Mhm.
be, fluid like that. In
Nimble, flexible.
yeah, in my expression of hopeness.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because when we look at Jesus, I mean, you know, Jesus was pretty tough. I mean, Jesus half the time, when if you go around and talking to Jesus, you don't know what you're gonna get. He would call you oh Lord, how long must I be around these wicked and perverse people, you know?
Right,
And you know he's
right.
talking about you because you right there. But then in
But
another
then,
instant,
but then, but then didn't he say, just before he called Matthew, I think he had another name, I don't remember what it was, but just before he called Matthew as one of his disciples, um, the people around him that were witnessing him, you know, dining with Matthew and others like him, didn't he remind him? He said, I'm not here to
Help
I'm
the
here
sick.
to heal.
Mhm.
You know, in other words, what he was saying is, and when you look at it that way, it's like, I know when I was growing up, if you were a deacon in the church, you didn't go to the bar.
Oh
That was
yeah,
a no.
they
That
like
was a
that
no.
now. That's not even that's they like that now. And
But
it's not the deep.
or a nightclub. But I mean, God has. I look at it this way. Everything that you have, that or every talent that you have, every skill that you have, those are God-given gifts or talents.
Yes.
And as long as we are good stewards of those gifts, in other words, not overindulging, then we're okay.
Yeah.
It's just like with marijuana. When you use marijuana and you don't use it to the point that it's makes you crazy,
Mm.
there's nothing wrong with using it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the same thing with alcohol, whether it's beer, wine, or whiskey. You know, if it gives you a relaxed feeling so that you can better enjoy your life the way it is, then it's okay.
Yeah. I
You
do
know,
believe that we were supposed to be
everything in moderation.
everything in moderation, but I do believe that we are supposed to be enjoying this
Those
plan, this system.
exactly.
I think we're supposed to be enjoying our bodies and enjoying
Exactly.
our beautiful planet and
And the
enjoying
things
one
that
another.
have been put here for us to use.
Yeah, I think we should be enjoying that.
Exactly.
But it's the fear. It's the fear. And when you think about it, I don't, and I can only speak about Christianity because that's my main source of, I guess, spiritual influence.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing, the whole fear is being separated. That's what the whole fear is about. The whole fear is not to be separated from God.
Right.
That's what everything is about. But yet it's not it was not from my understanding of, that but we can't be, there's so many conditions to make you be in with God, but we're still separate from him. He is
But are we?
No, we not at all. We never have been. I mean, I'm just saying this is how I was taught that,
right.
as Christians,
Exactly.
that the whole fear is a fear of separation. But even when we admit, we go through all of the hoops that they ask for, believing in Jesus, whatever you're doing in church, if you're doing everything that your church say to do, we are still fearful of separation. So we don't believe it.
Right.
We have to get to this point where we're actually teaching wholeness. We're actually living and expressing ourselves as whole in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
means that sometimes we got to say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I eat something and I keep getting bits of it on my tongue. What is it?
What, biting it? You biting it?
I said, I think I ate a burger earlier and seems like I keep getting pieces.
Oh.
I know that was too much information, but it was just tripping
That's
me out.
okay.
because it feels like a hair. You know how you get a hair in your mouth.
Yeah.
But I think it's got to be the burger. But anyway, things like that, I think has caused the fear, you know, and I think that, you know, and when we see people where, you know, the rich are better than the poor, of course, you know, men are better than women naturally, you know, white people are better than everybody else, you know, that's just manifested destiny, you know. So when we're seeing all of these expressions of separation, we have a difficult time believing in unity. You know, we have to really work toward seeing ourselves as whole.
One with the universe.
One
with each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, because I know with me, I have to constantly remind myself of that fact.
Yeah, me too.
You know?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that reminder it hits me in the face when something goes awry.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, you know.
So and that just kind of served as a reminder that when we have errors, when we make mistakes, or we commit errors, they're learning their lessons.
Yeah, always.
Reminders.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Always. And that's kind of why, you know, getting back to look, you know, that brought me right back to Harry, is that he is so big on responsibility, accountability, and truth. You know, that's one of that's that path back, you know, because everybody makes mistakes. People live out their mistakes because we all have fear. We all have fear of something, you know. So the way that we can, you know, correct that fear is with, you know, truth and being accountable for our actions and our thoughts, and being responsible for, you know, the diet that we're taking in, or how we're using it. Okay, let's see. We were at 5, right? Oh,
No, we just did 4. We just did 4.
We just did 4. So yeah, So at that level, you can help it. Okay, I don't know what that.
Wait, these conditions always entail willingness to be separate. At that level, you can help it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Much too tolerant of mind wandering and are passively condoning your mind's miscreation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because when go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we're getting into more or less where we have to look at combination instead of line by line, kind of, you know, looking at how each line is kind of explaining,
right,
or modifying, or whatever, the next line.
But we can help it at that level, because that's right there at that point where I am willing to be separate. That's the point where that's right there is where I can help it. You know, I don't have to be separate from my wholeness. You know, if I know that I shouldn't eat this piece of cheesecake, all I gotta do is just not eat this piece of cheesecake. You know, it'll be there. It'll be there till the next time. Or there will be another piece of cheesecake will come along.
Exactly.
You know? And so that right there is where I can help it. But if I let the condition of, that one time when the last piece of cheesecake was gone, I'm never going to ever let that happen to me again. That's my fear. I'm afraid of that condition that happened back when I was, 12 or, 40 years ago. Now I'm holding on to that. So I am going to eat that piece of cheesecake. I am willing to be separate from this spiritual awareness right now because of my fear. I'm too afraid that I won't have all of my desire. If I don't get it now, I won't have it later. And I like this is the number says. He's laughing at me.
Laughing because I thought about something I used to hear my mother say. Her grandfather would say, tomorrow ain't promised to you. I want it now. I want it now. Oh, man.
And number 6 says, you are much too tolerant of mind wandering and are passively condoning your mind's miscreation. See, that whole scenario that I came up with the cheesecake thing, all of that's my mind wandering. That's
exactly.
me. That's me allowing myself, giving myself more ammunition, more talk time, more, more, clicks on this fear than to simply say, you know what? Nope, I'm not gonna eat the cheesecake and go on about my business, do something else.
Right. Now, see, I would eat the cheesecake.
You can. I can eat the cheesecake too. But I shouldn't eat the cheesecake if it's out of fear.
Right.
If I'm constantly afraid that
you won't get any more.
Right.
That you won't get any more.
Right. If there's always fear, I can leave the cheesecake. I don't have to eat. I mean, I can't eat it. We can always do it. We can do anything we want. We're God.
That's right. And I mean, I constantly refer back to the Bible because that's our source. That seems to have been the source of our spirituality and our roadmap, whatever else you want to call it, as far as life is concerned. But what I was going to say is, doesn't the Bible tell us in more than one place that, whatever has been created, there's always going to be, our needs are going to be satisfied, is what I'm trying to say, basically. And I mean, okay, maybe you don't see that next piece of cheesecake, but it's out there somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. I may not have stated that exactly right, but the whole idea is that if you eat what
we don't lack anything, we lack no good thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, we lack no good thing. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I think that the reasons that I like A Course in Miracles is because it is more descriptive. I mean, it can be hard to read. It can be challenging to read it, but when you do, and when you understand what it's saying and the psychology of it,
and you open yourself, and opening your mind to being receptive.
Because we want to be able to use our thoughts efficiently and create, and not so much creatively, but I can't think of, but I was thinking of another word, but it'll come to me in a minute. But but when we're using our minds effectively, in a psychological way, so that I am, it's not just out there. It's not all creativity. It's, some part of it is just cold hard facts and science,
Truth.
yes, truth, so that now now it's told to me how I am supposed to have faith. It's told to me how I am supposed to um uh, express this awareness so that miracles are continuously happening in my life.
Right.
This is
Right.
what we learn from A Course in Miracles. And I'm not saying at all that you can't get that from the Bible, because you absolutely can.
Exactly.
Uh,
The thing about it is, when we look at the Course in Miracles, we have been told, and I have no reason to not believe it or not doubt it, is that it was dictated by Jesus to Helen Shuckman. So he is just expanding on what he has been credited with saying as far as the Bible is concerned, because what's in the Bible is basically, it's limited to the first 5 books of the New Testament and some parts of the book of Revelation. All the rest of it is other people, So, and this is just, and when you look at those other letters, I think that's what they're called, or missiles that are written by others, whether you're looking at the Old Testament or the New Testament, we have to constantly remind ourselves that it's just like news reporters today. They give you the facts and then they give you their opinion about what it is they're reporting on, their thoughts about, whatever is going on. And basically that's what most of the Bible is all about.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that even those first 4 Gospels and the book of Acts, where Jesus is quote, I'm looking at those areas where they're using his direct words. They are, my understanding is that many of them were written long after the fact. So what is being written is based on, memories.
Yeah. 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 Let's see, number 7. The particular result does not matter. The fundamental error does. And I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the particular result does not matter, but the fundamental error does. Yeah, because we have all of these results.
Yeah, because sometimes that error, the result of the error might not be so bad.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And but it's, and just like you said, sometimes, so we could have a lot of results within our error, but once we get that one fundamental thing, this, the real reason that I gotta eat cheesecake every time I see it is because of my lack from fear of some trauma that I had when I was 12 years old.
Right.
If I'm still stuck there, I'm still in that panic mode. So, and I'm not free. I'm enslaved to that fear. But so that's that fundamental error,
right.
So, so it doesn't, so the results of the error kind of doesn't make any difference. And those are those conditions, I might have planted a lot of, negative seeds along the way, other places where I have fear of lack now, but it's still that one fear of lack.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's still that, that's one fundamental error. How do you see that?
Right. But I'll just go back to what I said a little bit earlier. Whatever that error is, sometimes the result can, well, how do I want to put this? You committed an error, but the outcome has been positive. And that can lead to a problem, because if you feel that what you did and it turned out maybe was a positive result, it can be misleading, because it will make you think that whatever that error was is okay, and it's not okay.
Yeah.
And basically that's what I said, because sometimes you'll do something and it's not right. You shouldn't do it, but you do it anyway. And the result is, like I said, it turns out with a positive result. But then I think in a situation like that, our subconscious will gnaw at us to the point that you shouldn't have done that. You have that feeling of, okay, yeah, things turned out okay, but you just got lucky this time.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, and the situation will come around to you, because you are going to learn that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
It will come around again.
Yes,
that's
it
one
will.
thing about life. That same lesson will show up all the time, all throughout your life at some point
Exactly.
in time.
Exactly. And I think, like you said, it'll show up. But I think it's showing up to remind you that you need to watch your step. You need to correct yourself.
Yeah. And number 8 says the correction is always the same. The correction is always the same. And that isn't that heartwarming?
Yes.
Then that in itself brings a lot of confidence.
Yes.
Because the correction is always the same. So one size fits all. So
exactly.
I just this is and that's why I say that correction really, to me, it really is truth. Being honest, being your most authentic self, being being as truthful as you possibly can.
Right. Looking yourself in the mirror and being able to look directly into your own eyes and see the truth.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Before you choose to do anything, ask me if your choice is in accord with mine. If you are sure that it is, there will be no fear.
And that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, and that just goes back to we need to consciously, and when I say we, I mean I'm talking about me, Harriet,
Mhm.
and anybody else that
Me
feels
too.
that they have to, you need to remind constantly,
Excuse me. Oh, I had a chill.
constantly remind ourselves
Yeah.
to be in accord with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. And I don't even
And
know, you know, and, you know, I think that, you know, if we just take that moment to merge, and
mhm,
I guess, you know, that's the same, you're saying the same thing, to
right,
remind ourselves, you know, just, you know, just always remember that this is really who we are. We really are the Holy Spirit.
exactly,
You know, we're not
exactly,
separate. And I think that that's another for me, you know, like, you know, from being raised a Christian, that and that still is the hardest part for me to um have a full you know, to fully accept, you know, that I am not and have never been separated from God. Never.
exactly,
You know, I have not that
exactly.
and not only am not, have not been, cannot be. I cannot be separated from God, you
And we
know.
need to, and like I said, we need to constantly remind ourselves of that fact,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and because we
Because we do
forget it
have to
too
get to the
far
point.
too often.
Yeah, because you know, we have to get to this point where there is no, there is only love.
Right,
We
right,
have to get to that point where there is only love. And that will come from when we have no more fear.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And just right here, where this is saying, before you choose to do anything, ask me if your choice is in accord with mine. If you are sure that it is, it will be, there will be no fear.
That's right. And you know, from my own personal experience, when I go to do something, and if I just dive right in without pausing, even if it's only for a second,
Mm-hmm.
to ask for guidance. Like I said, if it's only a second, Lord, show me the way, or whatever, you know, I choose, whatever words or that I choose to think or utter. When I do that, it always is either the journey, whatever it might be, is always easier than if I just dive right in without that momentary pause to ask for guidance and help or
Mm-hmm.
direction. And you know, that's been my experience. And like I said, I need to constantly remind myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what does Jesus tell us? The burden may be heavy, but take my yoke upon you and the burden will be lighter.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So let's go to, because we are actually right on
Oh,
time, because we started like 5:15 really,
right, yeah.
and it's just 6:20, so we actually still have time. So let's go to, if I can find it, where is it? Oh, here we go.
What?
This little section here that, yeah, there we go, manual for teachers. And let's go back to number 2.
Yeah. Who are the people?
Mm-hmm. Um, One of the things that I saw in this, and I had made some notes on in my book the last time, so I do have my book right here.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't make any notes.
It said, you know, certain pupils have been, let me see, Oh yeah. So we read this first part. I do remember this that we looked over that first part. Certain pupils have been assigned to each of God's teachers, and they will begin to look for him as soon as he has answered the call. And that's when we had talked about, when the student is ready, the teacher will
The teacher
come.
will come.
Um,
And then look at the last sentence in that paragraph.
mm,
When he is
when-
ready to learn, the opportunities to teach will be provided for him.
yes, yeah. And so and when he is ready, the opportunities to teach will be provided for him. Because oh my goodness, you're gonna teach me a lesson. I gotta oh, something to learn. And let's see, and number 2 is, and I had underlined this, in order to understand the teaching learning plan for salvation, it is necessary to grasp the concept of time that the course sets forth. Atonement corrects illusions, not truth.
Not truth. Mm-hmm.
And when we, and I do think that is, I think that this is kind of where we stopped. We stopped because we were talking about time the last time in our last session, is because in order to understand the teaching learning plan of salvation, it's necessary to grasp the concept of time. Now we have talked about time a little bit about, in the first chapter, I believe, and a little bit about, in the 50 principles. So we're always going to be learning about time. And our perception of time, how we live in time, and how to when you condense, how to condense time and how to use time. And that's one of the things that I think A Course in Miracles teaches, so that we can understand that whole idea of time. As it said, it is necessary to grasp the concept of time that the Course sets forth. And the whole thing is that atonement corrects illusions, not truth. So, atonement corrects all of that, all of the illusions that time, that we learn in time. Because we learn about illusions in time, how to correct that illusion in time. So atonement corrects that illusion. I don't need it anymore. And
right.
So
Read that next sentence.
Not truth.
No, therefore it
sentence.
corrects what
Right.
what never was.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But we have to get to that point that we see that. Yeah.
Right.
And that's why I like it here, that atonement corrects illusion, not truth. So truth is the thing that we use to stay in atonement.
Right. Right.
Because the more we live in that at-one-ment, there is only truth there. And that's really how we started this whole conversation about Harry, because I just been, like I said, I've been watching a lot of those interviews, and that's all he talks about, is living truthfully, living in a life that is authentic. And when we are living that authentic life, I think that, and forgive me, because I don't want anybody to think that I'm, downing Christianity. But I think that, now I was raised a Catholic. So being a Catholic meant that you automatically are like, righteous, because Catholics are automatically righteous. you know.
And you know what?
Uh,
I was just saying, that goes against all the principles
hold
that
on a
we
second.
have.
Let me press hold for a
Pause.
second.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello? Hey there, how you?
You okay, but
Let me pause.
We were,
Yeah. I don't remember what we were talking about.
we were
About illusions and truth and living an
right,
authentic life.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once we live authentically, I don't have to worry about that, correcting something else later on in my life. I don't, that's the thing that stops the fear. Because
Exactly.
I'm gonna live my most authentic self. I'm not gonna say that not gonna say that I'm not gonna make a mistake. I'm not gonna say that, that something might occur that, I'm not gonna foresee anything, but I know I'm gonna live as truthfully as I can each and every moment. And I think that is us saying to the Holy Spirit to, what is it you want me to do in this situation? What should I do here? I closed my book.
Oh,
What?
the world of time is the world of illusion.
Where you see that?
First sentence in the third paragraph.
Okay. Yes. Yes, the world of time is the world of illusion. Wow. Because we're not living our authentic self.
Right.
Yeah. So time is here. Now I don't even want to say there. Time is here so that I can walk my way out of this and learn all of the lessons that I need to learn so I won't be in this illusion. What happened long ago seems to be happening now. Choices made long since appear to be open, yet choices made long since appear to be open, yet to be made. What has been learned and understood and long ago passed by is looked upon as a new thought, a fresh idea, a different approach. Because your will is free, you can accept what has already happened at any time you choose. And only then will you realize that it was always there. That's a great
All the
sentence
time.
right there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because your will is free. You can accept what has already happened.
And that goes back to the statement you made about when the pupil is ready, the teacher will appear. Because I mean, something can be right in front of you today, trying to give you a message, but you're not ready for it, so you don't see it, you don't hear it.
Right.
But tomorrow, that message is still going to be right there in front of you, but something has occurred that has opened your eyes, and so to speak, that now you see it, now you hear it.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And it just reminds me, years ago when I was in counseling, my counselor said, she said something to me, and just the way she said it, I realized that she knew it all along. I mean, that she was aware of it all along. So my question to her was, you knew that. You knew that before. Why didn't you tell me? She said, because you weren't ready for it.
Yeah. And oh, go ahead.
And the thing that she had me do in between sessions was to record my dreams. And she had me not write them down as a narrative, but write down the key words. In other words, who was in the dream, what was the setting, that kind of thing. Just write down, those things. And then when I carried my little notebook to our session, and I began to look at those words, because that would help me remember the dream. Those key words would help me remember exactly what the dream was all about. And she would use my words as a way of teaching me what it was I was in need of learning at the time. I found it very interesting. And I had a notebook with the dreams in it, but then she had me do a little calendar, like one of those little calendars like you used to get from the card store. And she would have me put in that little calendar, in those little blocks for each day, what the weather was like, the phase of the moon, and what else? Oh, my mood. In other words, anything that affected me as far as my attitude, mood, or whatever was concerned. She had me make notes, and she had me use she had little symbols for each thing, And it was really interesting how she used that information to try and help me open my eyes.
Get to know yourself. So that you can live more authentically.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at something else that's right here. I think I want to look at number 5.
What, sentence 5 or paragraph 5? Oh,
the paragraph 5, and it says, the mind can be right or wrong depending on the voice to which it listens. Right-mindedness listens to the Holy Spirit, forgives the world, and through Christ's vision sees the real world in its place. I think
where are you?
Sentence number 5. I mean, paragraph number 5.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I'm in the wrong. Girl, no, I'm in the wrong section all the time. No wonder that. No wonder you can't find where. My book is open to the wrong thing. But I got so much stuff underlined.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I got so much stuff underlined. So okay, so yeah. So that number 5, I didn't have that. I didn't have anything underlined.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
And 5 under what? Who are the pupils?
Oh no, that was in the other section that I was talking about. Because right now, this is talking about who are the different pupils. I mean,
right.
The world of time, and you have, like you said, the world of time is the world of illusion. And like it says here, and on line 5, sentence 5 in paragraph 3, because your will is free, you can accept what has already happened at any time you choose, and only then will you realize that it was always there. As the course emphasizes, you are not free to choose the curriculum or even the form in which you will learn it. You are free, however, to decide when you want to learn it, and as you accept it, what is already learned. And that's kind of important too. Let me go back up here. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So that's that, that's also important too, is that, when the course isn't trying to put you, I guess, like on that path of the straight and narrow, like the 10 Commandments, all of the thou shalt nots. These are the things that you should not do. So I'm not free to choose that, and like it says, as the course emphasizes, you are not free to choose the curriculum. So, I don't know, I might have to walk through a path full of thou shalt nots,
Right.
in order to learn what it is that I need to learn, but the thing is that, how the only thing that I can decide to do is when I want to learn it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know.
And that goes back to the introduction of the course itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this right here sounds like Andre from the beginning. Time really then goes backwards to an instant so ancient that is beyond all memory and past even the possibility of remembering. That right there just reminds me of Andre, because he's always saying how time goes backwards. And when you think about time, and I'm not a scientist, so I don't really know a whole lot about how that whole equation of time. But I do know that time really depends on memory. It really depends on some form of who knew what when.
Right. And you just jogged my memory as far as getting back to the lessons, because I've been doing the lessons, start from the beginning, since the first. And I think it was lesson number 8. Yeah, no, lesson number 7. I see only the past. And what that did was it just went down through the first 6 lessons for the year. And it says this idea is particularly difficult to believe at first, yet is it the rationale for all of the preceding ones, meaning the preceding lessons, the first 6 lessons of the year. Nothing means anything. It means it's the reason why you have given everything. You see all the meaning that it has for you. It's the reason why you do not understand anything. And basically, it's kind of emphasizing that time really is here and now. And I remember reading somewhere, I don't recall now exactly where, but it hasn't been that long ago that time is a present, present, and it is also present, meaning here and now. That's not the way it was stated, but that was my interpretation of the statement that I read.
Right.
Because it used both, the homonyms present and present, but the different spelling. Yeah.
And I kind of just wanted to, kind of close this up about this, the teacher pupil
relationship
here. And this is really cool that it says in like 5 verse 2, it says, for the teacher is not really the one who does the teaching. God's teacher speaks to any two who join together for learning purposes.
So in other words, 2 people, they're both teachers, They're
Yep.
both
And
students.
they're
They're
both
both
students
people
at the same time.
at the same time. That's right.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's really Holy Spirit that is doing the teaching,
Right. Right.
because everybody's learning their lesson at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's
And look at sentence 5.
okay. Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Go ahead, read it.
Oh, in the teaching learning situation, each one learns that giving and receiving are the same.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what we're doing right here today.
Exactly.
This is what we're
Exactly.
doing. We're gathering and disseminating at the same time.
Right.
You give me something, I give you something. It's
Exactly.
it's very equal. It's very
Mm-hmm.
equal.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, look at how much time we are condensing in our lives.
Exactly. And the irony of the whole thing is we're doing it together
Mm-hmm.
under the direction of Holy Spirit. And we're both learning from each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And we're able to live our lessons out.
Exactly.
Well, it's
Exactly.
6:44, and so
You're kidding.
I know it. I know it. So we got
This has been great.
yeah, we got to wrap it up. But this has really been a good class. I really do enjoy it. So let's just do our roundtable real quick. Well, what did you get from today's session, and how can you apply it to your life?
I think the biggie for me today is that as long as I remember to call on my higher self, the Holy Spirit, God, that I won't have any fears.
Yeah.
I'll be able to go through this life, not necessarily smoothly, but I will be able to go through this life without any fear.
Yeah.
Is the best way I can
Yeah.
put it.
And ditto for me too. I think the thing that I get is to live authentically, to live truth, because that's how I will be able to maintain my at one minute, and
Right.
I'll be able to stay in that place there. So that's pretty much it. Tomorrow we are going to be working with the introduction to Gnosis with Reverend Sakina. Saturday, and that's from 7 to 8:30. Saturday, Harriet, you're going to do a continuation on the chakras,
Right.
dealing with chakras,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
And that's from 2 to 2:30. 2 to 2:30. Goodness gracious. From 2 to 4.
That's a whole lot of condensing.
From 2 to 4. On Sunday, Reverend Sakina will be giving us more instruction on a science of mind. And that's pretty much it for until Saturday. I mean, until next week. We just started all over again.
Right.
Wait a
But
minute.
don't forget about tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say I had just forgot about that. Forrest is going to be able to come on and give us a short class about IM. And so
Okay.
that will be at 11 a.m.
Right.
So,
Is it going to be for an hour so that it'll lead right into your meditation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Okay, well then that's it. Do you want to go ahead and close us out in prayer?
I'll be happy to.
Okay.
Let us close our eyes, taking a full, deep, cleansing breath. Let go all of the negativity, releasing all the diseases, discomforts, and ill health that we might be experiencing at this time. And let us be grateful for the health and love and protection that we are surrounded with. Let us be grateful for these moments that we spend together, teaching, learning, whatever it is our Creator, the Holy Spirit, has for us, that we may be better sisters and brothers to each other and to the world and to the world around us, our environment. And not only to our sisters and brothers, but to every living thing, the animals, the plants, because they are all the Creator's manifestations that we may enjoy and find pleasure in as we go about our daily lives. We are grateful. We are loved. We are light. We are peace. And so it is.
And so it is. And so it is. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I will see you tomorrow.
Yes.
All righty. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Make sure